Good evening, everyone. Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist Nathan Chun joining you for this edition of Date at 8. Have been continuously monitoring these showers and thunderstorms over the past hour, posting updates on Nathan Chun News 9. I urge you, if you do not follow me, please do. We've been able to report updates going throughout the evening, but I know I'm just now joining you live on our YouTube and Facebook page. So again, Nathan Chun News 9. We've been posting updates. I've been doing it continuously over the past hour. I please urge you to join me and follow me. I can give you updates going throughout the evening on where we stand. I know we're just now joining live for this edition of Nate at 8, but we've been continuously tracking these showers and thunderstorms over the past hour. We have currently ongoing flooding concerns into a portion of the area. We've been tracking severe thunderstorms as well. We're seeing more storms again Friday afternoon with that severe flooding threat continuing. So that's a bit of what we're going to be talking about for this edition of Nate at 8, but I just don't want to spend any more time on this, and we want to really dive into where we currently stand. So the activity is fairly quiet outside of what we're dealing with right now into portions of southern Jefferson, into the northeastern portion of Belmont, into Marshall County, and into Ohio County. And the main area of concern is locations around Ohio County. So when we start to zoom in, thankfully, the intensity of rain is now starting to decrease, but we've been dealing with some heavy downpours affecting areas around Ohio County. We've been dealing with some excessive rainfall into portions of Belmont, northern Marshall, and into Ohio County. And we have a flash flood warning still ongoing, and the considerable flash flooding is possible, affecting portions of primarily Ohio County and areas that are south of Valley Grove, extending through Triadelphia and into Bethlehem is where we've been estimating some of the highest rainfall amounts, seeing a lot of the heavy rainfall amounts extending into portions east of St. Clairsville, south of Mount Pleasant, and west of Yorkville and Wheeling as well, into that northeastern portion of Belmont County. Some flooding likely ongoing there as well. That flash flood warning in effect for these locations, as well as into northern Marshall. We're starting to see some of that heaviest rain start to take hold now into Marshall County as well. We'll watch as that storm gains a little more strength, may become warned as it's moving from Moundsville into Cameron. No severe thunderstorm warnings right now, but that would be the cell to watch. Still some heavy rainfall then as well, then more into northern Ohio County, moving out of Mount Pleasant, moving towards Bethany, into those locations. Still seeing some heavy rain in those areas as well. But we're watching this cell right here. They start to gain a little more steam, may become warned here shortly into Marshall County. So severe threat, that's where I'd be watching right now, is into Marshall County, moving towards Cameron, south of Moundsville. Again, the primary concern with severe weather is going to be damaging wind gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour, maybe some small hail, but it's the high winds that is concern when we're dealing with any severe thunderstorms. That's the one area we're watching right now for severe weather. Again, the area of concern for flooding is the locations east of St. Clairsville, extending through Wheeling and up towards Valley Grove in Ohio County, and even that it does extend into areas towards West Alexander into western PA as well. That flash flood warning in effect. Again, the threat is considerable. We've been dealing with some high rainfall amounts, radar estimated rainfall amounts, which have even exceeded 2 inches of rain. You'll notice those locations here over the last hour. We're seeing those high rainfall amounts and the possibility of even upwards of about 3 inches of rain. So that's some considerable and serious rainfall amounts that have fallen into the northeastern portion of Belmont County. Again, east of St. Clairsville, south of Mount Pleasant, really extending close to Mount Pleasant and south of Mount Pleasant, east of St. Clairsville towards the Wheeling area, and then east of Wheeling, looking into locations closer towards Triadelphia, Bethlehem, south of Valley Grove. So this is where we've been dealing with some of those high rainfall amounts. And we do have some storm reports coming in as well. Flash flood, water over the road along Fairmont Avenue is a report of flash flooding that was reported. Also dealing with a report of 1.5 feet of water reported over the road in Elm Grove near gas station. Another storm report coming in. So again, flooding is already ongoing into portions of Ohio, Belmont County. You want to be seeking seeking higher ground immediately. You want to be seeking higher ground as the flooding is ongoing. Thankfully, again, the rain is starting to let up for these locations in terms of the intensity. I know it's still raining, but in terms of the intense, heavy downpours, it's thankfully starting to let up. But as rain continues to fall, the flooding is ongoing. So as this flash flood warning remains in effect, again, now's the time to get to higher ground. We don't want to be sitting into these areas, the low ground near creeks. We want to get out of those locations, right? In the event of a flash flood warning, you want to get out. You want to get out of locations that are low-lying near creeks into these flood-prone locations, and you want to seek higher ground immediately in the event of flash flood warnings. And again, we have that flash flood warning in effect for majority of Ohio County, including areas around Triadelphia, Valley Grove, Bethlehem, Wheeling. We're also seeing that now into areas that are west of there, into St. Clairsville, east of St. Clairsville, excuse me, south of Mount Pleasant, into that more eastern, northeastern portion of Belmont County. Flash flood warning includes there Blainesville, areas there west of Warwood, again, east of St. Clairsville towards Stewartsville, near Bel Air as well. Those locations is Shady Side, all under that flash flood warning. This then does extend close to Moundsville, near Limestone, Calais, locations into northern Marshall County, the flash flood warning into effect as well. So all those locations I just mentioned, the potentials there for flash flooding. If it's not already ongoing, the potential is there. And again, where we're likely dealing with flash flooding ongoing is to locations where radar has estimated a lot of rain falling over the past hour, specifically into locations, again, just south of Valley Grove, extending through Triadelphia, Bethlehem area, near Wheeling, and then also south there of Mount Pleasant, east of St. Clairsville, locations, again, between Mount Pleasant and Wheeling, where you see where radar has estimated the highest rainfall amounts, is where we're likely dealing with flash flooding currently ongoing at this moment. Again, with a flash flood warning, if you live in or are in a flood prone location, a low lying area near a creek, you want to get out of that area immediately and seek higher ground. You don't want to stay there. You want to get out and get to a higher ground, higher location and elevation. You don't want to be staying in those areas in the event of a flash flood warning, which again is currently ongoing. We don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings right now. The activity is generally quiet as we look really outside of the area we were just discussing. We're tracking that potential. I still think for a severe thunderstorm could develop into Marshall County as we're tracking the storms moving towards Cameron. That is one area to watch. A severe threat, again, is lowering, but the flooding threat is certainly still there and ongoing into portions of Belmont and northern Marshall, Ohio County. And we're watching for another cell there just starting to develop, another cell taking hold there just south of Steubenville as well. And we'll watch this as it moves into Follansbee, as this gains a little more strength moving into Brooke County, could become severe as well. So we'll watch that cell that's moving into Follansbee. We're also watching, looking at cells starting to even converge there into Marshall County. So we'll watch as these can gain some steam, become severe, moving towards Cameron. Lower flooding concern there into southern Marshall, but we're watching that potential for a severe thunderstorm that could develop. Lower flooding concern there towards Steubenville, but again, we're watching this cell that could start to mature more, become severe. So we're watching those two areas for that potential for a strong severe thunderstorm. We're watching this area then as looking towards Ohio County into portions there of Belmont, northern Marshall, less so for the concern for severe weather, but the concern for dealing with flooding. Again, it's ongoing in these locations. Flash flood warnings are in effect for a majority of Ohio County, northeastern Belmont County, northern Marshall County. You'll notice that, again, the radar trends, the last couple scans, you'll notice that the real intense rainfall is starting to thankfully weaken. The overall amount of lightning strikes is lowering as well. It's good evidence that this is finally starting to taper down, right? We're starting to finally see that real intense rainfall start to diminish. Still raining, but that real intense rainfall is starting to diminish. And this is likely going to be a trend that will continue as we extend here over the next half hour, that thankfully we'll start to see this intensity continue to lower in terms of this rain. Again, we're still dealing with flooding ongoing into portions of Belmont, a lot of Ohio County. Yes, that does include areas near Valley Grove and then extending west towards Triadelphia, Bethlehem, Wheeling. We're seeing this then into locations near Bel Air, north of Moundsville, east of St. Clairsville, south of Mount Pleasant, into portions of Belmont, and as well as into Marshall County. This even does extend then towards West Alexander into PA before our area. That's where we're dealing with this flooding concerns. Again, they not only the concern, but ongoing flooding into these locations. Jeff's joining in and chiming local storm report, the water over the road along Fairmont Avenue. And we also again had the report also of 1.5 feet of water. In fact, let me just dive back in here. I'll look to see if any more storm reports coming in. So like Jeff mentioned, we have water over the road along Fairmont Avenue. And then before that, we also had the storm report out of Bethlehem. Local storm report, public report of flash flood, 1.5 feet of water reported over the road in Elm Grove near gas station in Bethlehem. That was report at 7:58. The National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh did issue that storm report. 7:58 p.m. is when the report came in. Again, 1.5 feet of water reported over the road in Elm Grove near a gas station, and also that report of water over the road along Fairmont Avenue is near Bethlehem as well. That report coming in this evening as well. 2 reports of flooding coming in so far out of Ohio County from the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh. And again, we're still seeing this flooding ongoing. You want to be getting out of those low-lying areas, right? Seeking higher ground immediately when we're dealing with these flash flood warnings that are in effect, and the potential there, again, for even considerable flash flooding in effect for portions of Ohio County. That threat there considerable just due to the sheer amount of rain that radar has estimated has fallen over the past hour. Rainfall amounts have been upwards of close to 3 inches in some spots into the northeastern portion of Belmont County, east of St. Clairsville, northwest of Wheeling, and then east of Wheeling, locations near Triadelphia, Bethlehem, extending south of Valley Grove, where radar's estimated 2 to 3 inches of rain falling over the past hour. So dealing with excessive rainfall amounts for these locations where radars estimated a lot of rain has fallen. Elsewhere, what we're going to be keeping an eye on this hour is going to be into southern Marshall County. Also going to be watching a cell into Jefferson County as well. So this cell, we'll watch this. It's not gaining a whole lot of steam, but we'll watch there near Wellsburg, south of Steubenville, towards Follansbee. Nothing there of concern right now, but we'll continue to monitor that. I think the area of concern is going to be closer to, is more towards Cameron, southern Marshall County. We'll watch this. This is gaining more steam at this time. It's still intensifying. This could end up becoming, if it gains a little more steam, matures a little more, becoming severe. That potential is there. Again, that's moving towards Cameron into southern Marshall County. So this would be the area to watch for that potential for a severe thunderstorm, as it's already gaining some steam there. And again, if we do see a severe thunderstorm develop here going through this evening, the primary concern will still remain the potential for damaging wind gusts upwards about 60 miles per hour. So high winds is the concern with any severe thunderstorms that we see develop in our area going throughout this evening. We could still see some small hail, but it is primarily those high winds that is of concern. And again, the main area of concern for severe weather right now is what we're seeing there developing closer towards Cameron into southern Marshall County. As we look then further to the north, again, thankfully the intensity of this rain is still continuing to diminish. It's on a downward trend, but as rain continues to fall, flooding likely continues into locations east of St. Clairsville and to the eastern part of Belmont County, a lot of Ohio County, and the northern part, which is north of Moundsville, into Marshall County as well. These flash flood warnings remain in effect. And north of that, again, we have that cell that's already starting to even weaken some there south of Steubenville. So likely not dealing with any severe threat there with that cell that did develop moving towards Follansbee. So you can already starting to weaken between Follansbee and Wellsburg. We'll continue to watch that area. But again, the higher concern near term is what we're seeing into southern Marshall as this continues to gain some strength, that the potential for severe thunderstorm. The highest potential would be that cell there that we're seeing into southern Marshall. Outside of that, weather is starting to quiet down. We're dealing with more of a shower activity north of Route 22 into Carroll, Columbiana, northern Jefferson. The weather's starting to quiet down for those locations. So really, we're monitoring for areas more south of Route 22 and even closer to I-70 and south of I-70 now for some of these lingering impacts that we could see in terms of severe weather and flooding. And again, the flooding ongoing, if you're tuning in into areas in Ohio County, areas east of St. Clairsville in the northeastern portion of Belmont County, also dealing with that into northern Marshall County as well. Radar estimated rainfall over the last hour for these locations has been reaching even upwards about 3 inches of rain. So those are some serious rainfall amounts that have fallen over the last hour as rain continues to fall. Again, we'll still see that downward trend here as we extend within this half hour to hour. We'll see that just continue to gradually likely taper off for those areas. The real intense, heavy rainfall is starting to come to an end for these locations, but we can still add some to these rainfall amounts as that rain does continue to fall. Still just watching for any more storm reports coming in. I'm not seeing any more storm reports coming in, but just keeping a close eye on where we stand with the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh, just continuing to scan for any more storm reports that they have coming in. No more comments from the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh. But again, we've already had 2 reports of flooding that out of Ohio County. We did have some storm reports of flooding coming in out of Ohio County. The flood reports that have come in so far, we've had reports of 1.5 feet of water reported over the road in Elm Grove near gas station, and also report that water over the road along Fairmont Avenue in Bethlehem. So we're getting both of those reports near Bethlehem, Elm Grove coming in so far of flooding, and that coincides again where we saw some of those highest rainfall amounts near Tridelphia, south of Valley Grove through Tridelphia near Bethlehem, there east of Wheeling, and also then dealing with some of those high rainfall amounts there west of Martins Ferry, then extending south of Mount Pleasant. So between Mount Pleasant and Martins Ferry, west there of Yorkville, this is where radar estimated those rainfall amounts started to reach upwards about 3 inches of rain over 1 hour. That is a serious and a serious amount of rain falling within an hour. And radar estimated those amounts again between Martins Ferry, Mount Pleasant, and looking closer east of Wheeling, downtown Wheeling, going towards Tridelphia, as well as areas near Bethlehem, then extending further east, south of Valley Grove, extending towards Dallas Pike there, where we're dealing with radar estimated those rainfall amounts upwards of 3 inches of rain. So serious rainfall amounts to fall over the course of 1 hour for these locations into northeastern Belmont, as well as the more southern part of Ohio County as well, east of Wheeling. And flooding is likely still ongoing for these locations as rain does continue to fall. Thankfully, we're seeing that downward trend of this, so the intensity is starting to diminish. This is gradually coming to an end at this point. But again, it's obviously still raining, but the real intense rain is starting to diminish now, and this is starting to gradually taper off. Thankfully, we're starting to see this come to an end, more so for locations between Mount Pleasant and Martins Ferry. We're starting to see the rain really die down at this point for those locations, the rain turning lighter, still dealing with some moderate to heavy rain into these areas, into Ohio County. Although those real intense downpours are starting to diminish, still some pockets of heavier rain there to contend with. And again, thankfully, as you can see with these latest radar scans, that we are starting to lose that real intense rainfall. It's gradually diminishing now, but we're still likely dealing with that flooding ongoing for these areas. A flash flood warning in effect until 10:30 for Ohio County, and then for those areas into Belmont and northern Marshall County, that flash flood warning is in effect. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. In effect until 10:45 p.m. 10:45 p.m. That flash flood warning in effect for locations northern Marshall and into the eastern northeastern portion of Belmont County. So some serious rainfall amounts again were radar estimated for these areas, and likely ongoing flooding into these locations under flash flood warning. And thankfully, again, rain is starting to die down. It's going to be a gradual process, but it is starting. So it's good that, we're not seeing that intense heavy downpours continue for these locations, but rain does continue to fall, and we're continuing to watch the downward trend of this rain continue. Also, still monitoring a strong thunderstorm moving towards the Cameron and southern Marshall. This would be the area of concern. This gains a little more steam of becoming severe. So the severe thunderstorm, that's what we're going to be watching in those locations. Let me get out and broaden our view. You'll notice outside of those areas that we're watching into Marshall and Belmont and Ohio County, weather's fairly quiet outside of that. We have some more light showers looking back further west along I-70 towards that I-77 corridor. We're also tracking some showers then along north of Route 22, some thunderstorms south of Steubenville area towards Wellsburg. Nothing there that looks to be threatening to be severe right now, but there are some thunderstorms in the mix closer towards Wellsburg, south of Steubenville, and again, fairly quiet outside of that. Then as we look further north, some showers looking north of Route 22, some showers looking back west towards I-77, and we're dealing right now, again, that potential for Severe weather, I think the greatest concern is that cell that we're still watching into southern Marshall, and then the flooding is ongoing into portions of Ohio County, into areas in northeastern Belmont and into northern Marshall County, where these flash flood warnings do remain in effect. We look at what radar has estimated over the past hour. These rainfall amounts are reaching upwards of 3 inches of rain, where radar estimated even possibly a little over 3 inches of rain. That is a serious and excessive amount of water within an hour. And that's what radar is estimating for some locations. And again, these locations where radar is estimating these high amounts, this is going to be south of Valley Grove towards Dallas Pike, the southeastern portion of Ohio County, then extending west towards Triadelphia, and then near Bethlehem as well. This does not then extend into downtown Wheeling, but it's more east of downtown Wheeling where we're seeing those real excessive amounts. And then also looking into that portion of Belmont County, looking into areas west, northwest and west of Martins Ferry, and then south of Mount Pleasant. So between Mount Pleasant and Martins Ferry, that's along that State Route 647. There's Sunset Heights, the east of Barton. So that's locations there along 647 running out of Martins Ferry up towards Mount Pleasant. It follows along that road where radar estimated the possibility of upwards about 3, maybe a little more inches of rain that has fallen within the past hour. The excessive amounts there into the northeastern portion of Belmont County. And then again, looking back into locations south of Valley Grove, into towards Dallas Pike, just south of I-70 corridor, into the southeastern portion of Ohio County, and then extending west into Triadelphia, between Triadelphia and Bethlehem, dealing with those excessive amounts as well, where radar's estimated the highest amounts, and then lowering some there towards downtown Wheeling. But still, just in general, this area dealing with a lot of rain that has fallen. And we've even seen some of these excessive amounts extend into the very southern sliver of Jefferson County as well, closer to Mount Pleasant. But certainly south of Mount Pleasant towards Wheeling, and then east of Wheeling through Triadelphia, and then areas south of Valley Grove is where we've seen the highest amounts of rain that has fallen. Even if we broaden our view, with respect to what we've been dealing with, even if I put this over the last 3 hours, we've had other areas of concern with flooding, but this is certainly where we've been dealing with some more of the excessive rainfall amounts as of recent. So earlier into the afternoon, we dealt with some excessive rainfall near New Philadelphia, Midvale, west there of Sherrodville, and then the areas, again, currently ongoing into areas into Ohio County, northeastern Belmont County, some excessive rainfall amounts into portions of Wetzel County as well over the last 24 hours, but more so for today. What we've been tracking, Tuscarawas this afternoon, and then again, Ohio County, Belmont County is what we've been tracking for this afternoon and into this evening. Even though these do extend over the last 24 hours, that's more so what we've been concerned with going throughout this afternoon and continuing now into this evening. We'll go back to again what we had over the last hour and these rainfall amounts. Again, most excessive there east of Wheeling, south of Valley Grove, between Mount Pleasant and Martins Ferry. Between Mount Pleasant and Martins Ferry, where you're seeing that darker red, that's where radar estimated closer to 3+ inches of rain falling over the course of 1 hour. Some serious rainfall amounts over the course of 1 hour. And we go back to what we're tracking on radar. That flash flood warning remains in effect for these locations to 10:30 to 10:45. So, still in effect as we extend in general over the next couple of hours. The flood waters, it will gradually recede once we start to see this rain taper off, but flooding is still likely ongoing for these locations in Ohio County, in northeastern Belmont County. Thankfully, the rain is starting to taper off more so into Belmont County, but continuing into Ohio County, although the intensity continues to drop. Same story there into northern Marshall County as well. Rain still ongoing, but that intensity is starting to drop of this rain as this continues to progress just very slowly towards the east. It's tracking at a strong thunderstorm, thankfully not gaining any more steam, looks to be weakening with the past couple radar scans. Will slow this down. And yeah, we're starting to see, it looks like this weakened some. So good track there. That's still a strong thunderstorm, but thankfully starting to weaken some as this makes its way towards Cameron. into the southeastern portion of Marshall County. A couple individual cells back towards New Martinsville, as well there north of Pine Grove into Wetzel County, and we'll continue to monitor those. Good bet that if there's a severe concern, it's going to be more into those areas further south of I-70 towards Wetzel County, Marshall County. At this point, the severe risk is starting to really subside areas further north. Looking to where we're currently dealing with the flash flooding, but also north of I-70 as well. The severe concerns are starting to diminish. And thankfully, this activity will likely not continue too long overnight. You can carry over here early on tonight. As we lead up closer to midnight, a lot of this should start to taper off as we do extend further into the overnight hours. So let's catch up on some comments here. I know a lot of you tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Again, I urge you, if you do not do so, please follow my Facebook page, Nathan Shutt News 9. I know we were just now able to go live here, but I urge you to please follow my Facebook page. If you don't have Facebook, maybe you have X. I'm on there as well at InShutWTOV. But I was able to issue updates for the past hour continuously. I think really one after the other. I was posting updates continuously over the past hour, closely monitoring these flooding conditions into Ohio County and getting that word out even before this occurred, that we started to see these storms back building and developing over the same location. And again, please urge you to to stay tuned for the latest of these storms. Please follow Nathan Shutt News 9 on my Facebook page. I'm able to get those updates again just continuously over the past hour out before we were able to go live here with this edition of Nate at 8. Lola's saying, not again, so scary. It's so scary. I know, Lola, it is terrifying to see flooding concerns again into Ohio County. Austin's saying another hot day, miserable day. Just rained here not that long ago. Looked like a hurricane typhoon as it came very quickly. Austin says, talking about likely some of those heavy downpours that we've been seeing. Everyone stay safe. Absolutely, Lola. Hope everyone does. Scary evening, Nathan. Scary indeed, Joe, to be dealing with more flooding into these areas. Please be careful, everyone. Yes, absolutely. I can't agree more. Be careful and stay safe. St. C didn't see any rain, just thunder and wind, Renee said. And yeah, really just east there, St. C. And that can happen with the scattered nature of these thunderstorms this time of the year, that over a short distance, that just how quickly conditions can vary over a short distance. And a great example there of St. C not seeing much there, but just east of St. C dealing with an excessive amount of rain. Marv is saying, stay safe, raining very hard in Moundsville. And Ruth says, hope that everyone stays safe. I hope so, Ruth. Yes, praying that everyone is staying safe. Flooding in Shadyside, excuse me. And Diane is saying, excuse me. And then how much rain Shadyside for reports, Diane is asking. Not getting those real excessive amounts in Shadyside. We can go back to what radar's estimated, though. And you can see just a larger swath there where radar estimated those amounts close to 3 inches. This is a lot of rain. That is terrible to see. Again, occurring back into portions there, Ohio County, and extending into northern Marshall and the northeastern portion of Belmont County as well. So Shadyside asking those rainfall amounts. The radar not estimating as much there near Shadyside. Those are much lighter amounts, likely only up to about 1/2 inch of rain near Shadyside. Just east of Shadyside, though, radar estimating a lot more rain just east of Shadyside into Marshall County. Kaylee asking, how's the storms going to hit the northern Jefferson County? Anything to worry about? No, not northern Jefferson. Really activity starting to wind down for locations north of I-70. We'll go back looking at radar. And again, I think some showers there for sure, but likely nothing that's going to be severe at this point for these areas. That severe risk looks to be really dwindling at this point for areas north of I-70. And the flooding concern will be low as well. We don't have those heavy downpours for these areas. So likely at this point, a low risk for anything severe or flooding north of I-70. And then we go south of I-70. This is just be the area to watch for any additional impacts. I think is going to be more Wetzel, Marshall County, southern Marshall, and into portions there of Wetzel County. This would be the area to watch then for any additional impacts going throughout this evening, as things are thankfully starting to quiet down closer to and north of I-70 at this hour. And in general, as we see the sun set, we're going to notice a gradual likely decrease in these showers and thunderstorms as well, and the impacts will go with it, and we'll see a downward trend in general across the area after the sun sets. Shane says, I guess I'm never going to get the grass mowed. It's either raining or too hot. It's been very excessively hot, and that likely just continues through the weekend. It's still feeling like it's in the 90s on a daily basis into Monday, and it's Tuesday into Wednesday that we finally start to see that heat lower in addition to that humidity. Raining, thunder, and lightning in Adena, Lori reports. Thanks for the report there, Lori. Is there any storms in Barnesville coming soon? Tommy's asking. And no, some showers there to Barnesville, Western Belmont, some showers, but no, we're not tracking any thunderstorms coming your way, but there are some showers there near Barnesville, so may very well even stay just north of Barnesville, but some showers around in general, but not tracking any thunderstorms. Barnesville high and dry, Bluegill says. When will the rain be over, Shane? Yeah, in general in our area, it'll be early tonight leading up to midnight. Likely we'll see this taper off. It'll be a gradual trend of this tapering off likely here early on tonight. Joe says the rain finally starting to slow down here in Bel Air. Thanks for the report there, Joe. Thankfully, yes, we're seeing this rain start to gradually diminish. And again, it's good that each scan of the radar coming in that we're seeing the intensity of this rain continue to lower for these areas that still likely dealing with ongoing flooding into Ohio County, into northeastern Belmont and northern Marshall County. So in these areas that under that flash flood warning. So good that thankfully at this point we're starting to see this intensity of the rain lower, but the flooding is still likely ongoing for these areas. Tommy mentioning survived a hurricane with a little girl in Houston. How interesting. How interesting there. What will the rainfall be like for the rest of the week? Diane's asking. So unfortunately, we continue the same threats that we've had for yesterday and to today as we go likely even into early next week. I think there's that potential really on a daily basis to deal with the potential for localized flash flooding, in addition to dealing with the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms. It is unfortunate, but I think that potential is really there on a daily basis. Tomorrow, we're dealing with a similar setup that we had for today and yesterday. We're starting off dry, then more of these showers and thunderstorms are developing into the afternoon and evening. And yes, that potential is there for some localized flash flooding and some strong to severe thunderstorms. Unfortunately, that can play out again for tomorrow. Now, by Saturday and into Sunday, we'll notice, especially by Sunday, I think the coverage can fall off where it starts to become more isolated. That can just naturally lower that potential for impacts as well when that activity stays more isolated as we go into Sunday. Anything that does develop, though, I think it's hard to rule out completely that potential for severe thunderstorm or any localized flooding. But thankfully, the activity overall looks very hit or miss Sunday. I think most of us can stay dry for the second half of the weekend. Now, Saturday, yes, still more scattered showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening. Activity then picks back up Monday afternoon and evening, continuing Monday night. It's Tuesday then that will finally start to dry up by the end of the day. So we'll notice some lingering showers in the morning and then finally drying up towards the end of the day and getting a couple of dry days likely in store next Wednesday and Thursday. So unfortunately, this is that stretch where, now is the time to keep vigilant and keep weather aware into these afternoon and evenings, have multiple ways to get warning. And in the event a warning is issued, right, be prepared to take action. So have a plan in place and execute that plan in the event of a warning, whether it be a severe thunderstorm warning and, you have to have a plan of where you're going to be seeking shelter. And if one's issued, then execute the plan and seek shelter immediately. In terms of flash flood warning, have that plan. If you live in a flood prone area, low lying area near a creek, have that plan of getting higher ground, right? So have that plan, maybe jumping in the car and getting to higher ground immediately. And so whenever a flash flood warning is issued, you can execute that plan immediately, right? And seek higher ground in the event of a flash flood warning. And, as always, is we're dealing with some high water continuing over area roads. Now, of course, remember, turn around, don't drown, right? Don't try to cross the any area roads that are flooded. It's possible to judge just how deep that water is over roadway. And you don't want to get into a scary situation. So, as always, remember the turnaround, don't drown in the events of flooding as well, as we're still likely seeing some high water continue into portions of Belmont, Marshall, and Ohio County at this hour on some of these area roads. Finally calmed down in Marshall County, Marva says. Thanks for the report. Austin says the sky looked very dark and gloomy as winds starting to pick up. Thanks for the report there, Austin. Joe's asking, do you know how much Bel Air got? So let's go. We'll see what radar's estimated over the past hour in Bel Air. And we'll look to see what radar's estimated for Bel Air. So let's see. So radar estimated closer about 1.5 inches. So upwards about 1.5 inches of rain in Bel Air. And of course, just east of Bel Air, radar estimated those rainfall amounts picking up quite drastically, upwards of 2 to 3 inches of rain, then looking just east there of Bel Air. But closer to about 1.5 inches is what radar estimated has fallen over the past hour for areas around Bel Air. Joe. 3 inch an hour is big time. That is very scary, Bluego. Yes, it's very scary to see. It's going to rain a little bit in Barnesville. Tommy says, yeah, there's some showers coming your way into Barnesville. Thankfully, nothing impactful. Slowing down, praying for everyone. Stacy, yes, thoughts and prayers with everyone. Hopefully, everyone's able to stay safe. Certainly thoughts and prayers as we're dealing with some more scary high amounts of rain falling in Ohio County and even into northeastern Belmont County as well. Dealing with some excessive rainfall amounts, unfortunately, again falling into portions of Ohio County. Sandra says, rain stop, but power is out where I am near Sherrod, Marshall County. Thanks for the report there, Sandra. We'll have to check on power outages across the area. Praying for people wheeling. This can't happen again. It's so scary to see. Yes, thoughts and prayers, and hopefully, everyone was able to stay safe. But thoughts and prayers, just a horrendous sight to see again, dealing with these excessive rainfall amounts again in Ohio County. Jerry's joining us from Byesville, saying is as dry as it can be. And Jerry, in one of those locations that were on the miss side of that hit or miss, right? The scattered nature of these summer thunderstorms in a lot of locations. Even if we were to broaden our view, if we extend this over the past, let's say, 6 hours, and if we were to extend our view here, and you can see where radar's showing that just how scattered this is, right? A lot of Noble County, a good portion there, Monroe County, and even a good portion of Belmont County, with the exception in northeastern Belmont, but really good portion there of Belmont County, northern Jefferson. Some locations you can see radar estimated over the last 6 hours, nothing. So just another one of those days, just like yesterday, and what will likely be again tomorrow with the scattered nature of these showers and thunderstorms. Some locations are going to be picking up quite a bit of rain. Other locations next to nothing. So that is the scattered nature of these. And unfortunately, there is still that limitation when it comes to forecasting, that it is still impossible to pinpoint, okay, what exact location is hit, what exact locations miss, right? Fortunately, that's still a limitation to modern forecasting when you're dealing with the scattered nature of these thunderstorms. But that's it, and then we'll see that again. These scattered showers and thunderstorms, it's hit or miss, but we'll see the same likely here for a lot of these days going into early next week. I could foresee that coverage being a bit greater with a cold front passage, more widespread. Later Monday into Monday night. But really up until that, it can be more of that scattered variety of precipitation in place for Friday, Saturday, more isolated Sunday. And then again, I could see coverage being more widespread with a cold front passage into Monday night. Lola saying, appreciate all you do, Nathan, to keep everyone up to date in severe weather. Such a great tool to stay weather aware. Thank you, Lola. I really appreciate those kind words. Thank you. Download the Severe Weather Team 9 mobile app as well. So, and again, follow me on Nathan Shutt News 9 on my Facebook page. I was able to post updates continuously before we went live over the past hour. And the Severe Weather Team 9 mobile app is a great tool as well. It's going to alert you of rain heading your way, lightning detected near you. It'll alert you, of course, of any warnings issued for your location as well. Mobile phone is a great way to get those warnings. And another great way is a NOAA weather radio. In general, a local radio station, your local TV station, social media. Just have multiple ways to get warnings here. And again, we have to keep, unfortunately, vigilant still as we go through the weekend. The potential for impacts is still there as we continue into early next week. And we'll finally start to get a break from it for at least a couple days, likely around the middle of next week is when we'll thankfully start to get at least a couple dry days, maybe 3 going into the 4th of July. So right there around the start of July, thankfully, is when the weather, at least we get a break for a couple days likely from the rain and real humid conditions coming our way. Julie says water is high on road by Respecs in Elm Grove and Respecs Slot. Thank you for the report there, Julie. Hopefully you're able to stay safe there in Elm Grove. Kathy, thank you. Nathan, for everything. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's very kind. Lightly raining now in Salineville. Thank you there, Jen, for the report. Austin saying the wind is getting stronger here, seeing the leaves turning up in the sky, getting a lot gloomy. Thank you, Austin, there for the report. Ian saying 2 inches of rain in Maynard, Ohio. Thank you for the report there, Ian. Suzanne asking any tornado threats. And no, that is thankfully, with the severe threat that we've had in place the past couple of days and continuing this evening, that potential for a tornado looks low. It's more of the potential for high winds, and what can happen is even more of a downburst potential. And what do I mean by that is that when you're still dealing with some dry air aloft, what can happen is that you have heavy rain falling into a layer of dry air, and that layer of dry air cools rapidly, and it cools so fast it comes crashing down to the surface, and that's where you get those downbursts and those intense gusts of winds on more of a local scale. And that is the potential with these thunderstorms that we've been seeing in place, not only for today, but even the past couple of days, even into yesterday, and again for today, and that can carry over into tomorrow as well. So it's more of that damaging wind potential, some small hail potential as well. We've had some potential for hail with these, but it's primarily the high wind gusts. That is the primary concern with these, and they'll likely carry over to tomorrow. And again, in addition to, unfortunately, the potential for some localized flash flooding, as just going to be dealing with just some, again, heavy downpours. And if we get into a situation like we unfortunately saw for these areas in Ohio, Belmont, and Marshall County, where these storms are starting to develop over the same locations, it's more of a training effect where these storms start to back build, and you deal with storm after storm after storm slowly progressing through these areas. That is the alarm bell then to deal with flooding. And unfortunately, that potential is there again going into tomorrow, in addition to severe thunderstorms. So that's what we're going to be watching for again tomorrow afternoon and evening. It's going to be scattered in nature, just like today and yesterday, but that potential is there again. And we're going to be keeping a very close eye on everything as we go throughout tomorrow afternoon and evening. Joe, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Joe. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this edition of Nate at 8. Hannah Hayes, our own Hannah Hayes, is saying going to go live at 10:11, where the flash flood warnings. What do I need to let people know? So, again, some of the highest amounts that we've been dealing with these flash flood warnings in effect into locations that are east of St. Clairsville. This is between St. Clairsville, Wheeling, south of Mount Pleasant. That flash flood warning in effect into those locations, Belmont County. This then extends towards areas near Shadyside, north of Moundsville, and then this extends in the northern part of Marshall County, as well as a good portion there of Ohio County. So the areas where we radar estimated the highest amounts, this was into locations into areas south of Mount Pleasant, north of Wheeling there, northwest of Wheeling, between Mount Pleasant and Wheeling, also very close to Martins Ferry. So west there, Martins Ferry, south of Mount Pleasant, seeing some of those highest rainfall amounts there, as well as extending into a good portion there of Ohio County, south of Valley Grove towards Triadelphia, Bethlehem, near Oglebay as well, extending there near Oglebay, where radar estimated some of these highest rainfall amounts falling over the past hour. Brian asking, tons of rain and very hot temperatures is normal for our area. Actually, Brian, last year we had similar stretch of hot weather towards the end of June, and we had it again in August. So, this is pretty excessive, and I'll start to dive more into the climate statistics of this hot stretch of weather likely here over the next few days. there's certainly some significance to the extent of this heat, especially these overnight lows. We've been stringing together here a handful of days, 70 plus lows. That's quite excessive. That's just due to the unbearably humid conditions we've had. These dew points hovering around 70. It's kept these overnight lows into the 70s. So we have that stretch, which is significant. We've had a stretch here now continuing with 5 days, I believe it is, 90 plus highs. It has been an excessively warm stretch of weather. Again, I think it can be, in terms of climate statistics for the Wheeling area, from what we can dig up, I think this can get into the top 5 warmest stretch of weather that we've had, the longest stretch where we've dealt with these average temperatures at 80 plus. So that's just factoring in that high and low. So the average temperature for the day is into the 80s. I mean, that is warm, right? And that can, I think there's certainly some significance in those statistics that we'll be digging up in the next few days, just in terms of the stretch here of these lows above 70, the warm average temperature. There's certainly a lot to dig in, but again, I think it's similar to what we had just last year into the end of June. We had a similar hot stretch then into August that we dealt with. And anytime we're dealing with this amount of moisture in the atmosphere, a lot of that moisture for these storms to tap into, with these heavy downpours, unfortunately, that potential for flooding is there. And it's so unfortunate that we're seeing it again occur in Ohio County. It is so tragic to see. It's so sad to see these high rainfall amounts again occurring in Ohio County, as well as there into portions of Belmont County. It's just, it's horrendous to see. Megan says, thank you. You're welcome there, Megan. Thanks for tuning in. Also saying the heat advisory extended again until Friday. It was extended until Friday, so that potential there for highs near 90 in combination to these very humid conditions. The heat index likely well in the 90s. It's possible at times to get to 100 plus, but for a lot of the stretch, it's more likely upper 90s that will deal with that heat index. So it's close. It's still hot and humid. Even if we don't reach 100 plus for that heat index, it is still just hot and humid through the weekend. I think that even carries over into Monday. Again, the next time that we finally start to see more relief is likely going into next Wednesday, really. That's it. And that point, we finally start to see a further drop in the humidity. We finally start to see a further drop in those temperatures as well. So I'm just going to dive back into see if we got any more things sent to us for. So you got a report. Let me see. So I have a message from Richard Parsons just reporting a lot of rain falling in Cameron. So that was with that storm that we were tracking. Let's see. Let's get back in. So that's that storm, which thankfully is continuing to weaken. But Richard reporting a lot of rain falling there. See, 0.7 inches of rain in Cameron so far. He's reported that 2 minutes ago. I want to jump into the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh and check up on any more storm reports coming out of the area. So storm reports coming out of East Liverpool. That was from earlier today. The severe thunderstorm that moved through Columbiana County. Report of wind damage. US 40 closed due to flooding in Woodsdale area. Report coming in. Roads closed around Bridgeport, some with 2 feet of water over the road. Report coming in at Bridgeport. And those are the other two. Those are the 2 newest reports coming in. So, and they should actually be showing up for us, so I can show those for you up on the screen as well. So let's go to our flood reports, and they should be able to pop up on the screen for you. Let's give it a minute to load. There we go. These are the 2 from earlier that we talked about, if you're just tuning in. So 1.5 feet of water reported over the road in Elm Grove near gas station. Also report of water over the road along Fairmont Avenue. Now the 2 new reports coming in: Wheeling, US 40 closed due to flooding in Woodsdale area. And also report in Bridgeport, roads closed around Bridgeport, some with 2 feet of water over the road. This is horrible to hear. Just horrible to hear these storm reports coming in. Same US 40. road closure, and also some with 2 feet of water over the road. Roads closed around Bridgeport. Just horrendous reports coming in, and again, these were horrendous rainfall amounts again for these areas, dealing with upwards of 3 inches or more of rain falling over the course of 1 hour. Horrendous rainfall amounts, and certainly these thoughts and prayers still with the folks in these areas. I pray that everyone's able to stay safe, and we'll be having, as Hannah Hayes joined us here, to chime in. We're going to have our crew down there reporting the latest on a situation in Ohio County, Belmont County, as Hannah Hayes, our own Hannah Hayes, is going to go down to that area and going to be reporting the latest. Looks like we had just another report pop up there. Flooding on 29th Street, adjacent creek out of Banks, with fast-moving water covering the road. That was in Bethlehem. Again, that just coincides with areas near Bethlehem, then extending through Triadelphia, that saw some of the highest rainfall amounts where radar was estimated. Then again, looking closer towards areas there. Areas closer there towards Wheeling north, and then north of Wheeling towards Mount Pleasant. Have not had reports yet coming in of the locations around south of Mount Pleasant in the northeastern Belmont County, but there's likely was some flooding and still ongoing flooding for those areas as well, in addition to what we're seeing into Ohio County with this flooding ongoing. Laura's Laura watching. Thanks for tuning in, Laura. Shane asking, when it's hot like this, is there a chance that we can get a medium right? Because I know South Carolina and Tennessee. I'm sorry, Shane, I'm not quite following what you're asking there. Austin says, hope and prayers for everyone that they stay safe and we don't hear any more tragedy. Amen. Yes. Hope and prayers for those. Hopefully everyone's able to stay safe. Just so horrendous and tragic to see more flooding for Ohio County. And we don't have flood reports coming in yet, but flooding was likely ongoing into areas in Belmont County as well, mainly northeastern Belmont County. I know we have that report in Bridgeport, but even northeastern, even areas north of there towards Mount Pleasant, likely dealing with that flooding as well. Or radar estimated a lot of rain falling for these locations. And if we were to click on what radar is estimated, again, 2, 3, 3.5 inches of rain falling for some locations. That is a scary amount of rain to fall within 1 hour. Scary amount of rain to fall within 1 hour. Absolutely horrendous to see. And again, impacting a lot there of Ohio County, as well as into the northeastern portion of Belmont County. South there of Mount Pleasant. It does extend into southern Jefferson, but south of Mount Pleasant towards Wheeling, and then east of Wheeling towards Triadelphia, Bethlehem, areas there south of Valley Grove, where radar estimates some of those highest rainfall amounts over that past hour. And again, thankfully, as we continue to see that, this rain is just continuously, tapering off, right? It's a gradual process. It's continuing to thankfully taper off. And at this point, we're dealing with much lighter rain with respect to what we had here over the past hour into that area. Thankfully, even extending past that hour, it was even before 8 o'clock, we really started to see that rain pick up. So you can say even over the past 2 hours, thankfully, this rain is really starting to diminish for these locations. And it's becoming much lighter now into Ohio County, and even tapering off altogether, thankfully, for areas that dealt with that flash flooding in Belmont County. And then much lighter rain into northern Marshall County as well. Still getting some heavy rain looking into portions of Wetzel County, the very southeastern portion of Marshall County, seeing that cell start to gain some steam. That's really out of Wetzel County, though, south of 100, and that's well east of Pine Grove towards Mannington. That's just out of Wetzel County that we're starting to see that cell start to gain some steam. So this, would be really the area towards Pleasant Valley, Morgantown, Wetzel County. Really those locations that it's really starting to be more out of our area now at this point, that we could still see some lingering impacts in terms of severe weather or flooding. But for most of us, thankfully, that window, I think, for tonight is closing. We still have some showers, but our potential for flooding and severe weather is starting to come to an end. We have flooding ongoing for some areas, but in terms of additional areas of flooding, thankfully, that potential, I think, is really starting to come to an end now for our area. And we're really just dealing with some lingering showers now across our area at this point, as thankfully we're starting to see that risk subside. Again, I think the area to continue to monitor is still Wetzel County. We're going to continue to monitor Wetzel County for potential for some strong severe thunderstorms or flooding. I think Wetzel County is another area still to watch. But even Marshall County, I think once that storm's starting to move out of the area, that the southern part of Marshall County, that things will start to likely quiet down in Marshall County as well. So I think really at this point, the one area to watch should be towards Tyler, Wetzel County. If we're dealing with any additional impacts of flooding or severe weather, that's just the area to watch. Outside of that, I think it's really quieting down at this point, and the potential there for any additional flooding or severe weather is thankfully coming to an end. Patrick, is it likely that Yorkville, Rayland, or Tiltonsville will get flooding? Well, thankfully, Patrick, it likely not. Dealing with some rain up that way, but it's more of just shower activity. So, thankfully, we're starting to see that rain come to an end now near Yorkville. Yorkville is included on that flash flood warning. Up towards Rayland, though, it cuts off these higher rainfall amounts. Let's go back to what we had for our rainfall amounts and look into that area, and certainly could deal with some flooding there towards Rayland, Yorkville. It's certainly possible to have dealt with it. I think at this point the floodwaters are receding in that area. So in terms of any new flooding, I guess is what I should have said. I don't think so. I mean, it's some light showers, but in terms of possibly what was some ongoing flooding, it's possible there near Rayland, Yorkville. Radar still estimated. Let's see what radar's estimating in that area. So upwards of 1.5 inches of rain. So yeah, 1.5 inches, maybe up to 2 inches. So yes, it was possible to deal with some flooding, especially along the streets there in Yorkville. But that would have been, flooding that was ongoing and now starting to recede for those areas. Jeffrey, hi Nathan. They're down power lines on Cement Mill Road in Bel Air. It is caused by floods. Thanks you for the report there, Jeffrey. Thank you. I appreciate it. And we'll go back through. I'll try to pass more of these along to the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh as well. They compile storm reports, and I'll make sure to pass them on to the National Weather Service office. Transformers blown on Kruger Street in Elm Grove. Thank you there, Selena, for the report. Prayers for everyone. Indeed, Cindy. Absolutely. What are we looking at for severe thunderstorms? So yeah, Jeffrey, at this point, nothing, I think, really outside of maybe Wetzel County, a lingering impact towards Wetzel, maybe. I think that would be it. So towards Wetzel County, from what lingers, it's just an area to watch, not to say the threat's imminent, but just the one area to watch is this towards Tyler, Wetzel County. Again, nothing imminent right now, but this would be the one area to watch for any additional impacts. Outside of that, the weather is starting to really quiet down for the majority of us, thankfully, here going in this evening. Austin saying, been hearing a good bit of thunder off and on, but thankfully seeing no lightning. I'm hoping that the lightning can stay away. Hopefully, Austin, hopefully. Kelly's asking, can I get to the island from ferry through Bridgeport? Is it flooded by the island park behind the pool? And if anyone could help Kelly out, answer that question, anyone tuning in that may know the answer to that. I know we had reports of a lot of roads in Bridgeport being closed, water even up to 2 feet in some of those roads. So may not be able to. Can't answer that specifically. Maybe someone tuning in can help answer that for you, Kelly. Shane saying, I just wanted to know if we could get a meteor right when it's hot out. And that's something besides the weather. that would be we could get that at any point throughout the year. It is an independent of the weather. Yes, we can get it when it's hot. That's something that's independent of the temperatures and in terms of meteor, Shane. Eleanor says prayers for everyone that is going through this flooding tonight. Yes, indeed. Thoughts and prayers are certainly with those, and we are hoping that everyone was able to stay safe. We are hoping that everyone was able to stay safe. Hello there, Trey. Thanks for tuning in. How's the weather looking for Irondale? Kaylee says. So, really thankfully for, if you're tuning in to Wetzel County, and I would say even east of New Martinsville, I'd say this does not include New Martinsville, but east of New Martinsville, towards Smithfield, Pine Grove. Now, these are the areas we're watching this, nothing imminently threatening, but if we're going to deal with anything impactful, I think at this point tonight, it's going to be the areas towards Tyler, Wetzel County. Is the areas to watch as we then broaden our view back further to the north. Some showers moving through the area in Irondale, Kaylee, but thankfully nothing that's impactful here. So nothing that's going to yield any flooding or any severe weather concerns moving back in to most of areas, right? Again, I think that risk is really falling off for us, and just the one area to continue to monitor here going throughout this evening, before even this likely starts to taper off within the next hour or two, is into Wetzel and Tyler County. And outside of that, the weather really starting to quiet down, thankfully. Flash flood warnings remain in effect until 10:30 into Ohio County. 10:45 then from what we see into Belmont and northern Marshall County. So still dealing with those flash flood warnings in effect. Again, thankfully, this rain is really starting to let up for these areas. Much lighter rain in place as of now, but we're still watching some rain continue for these locations that radar estimated a lot of rain fell into these areas, into Ohio County, northeastern Belmont, northern Marshall County. A lot of rain fell into these areas. So we're still, continuously monitoring this, watching for reports coming in for this evening. Again, we have our own Hannah Hayes heading down there for the coming up News 9 at 10 on Fox 9, News 9 tonight at 11. Continue to give you the latest on the situation into Ohio County and into portions there of Belmont and northern Marshall County as well. And we do have, several reports coming in so far. I'm sure more reports are going to filter in of flood reports in this area that have come in so far. We're dealing with these flood reports. Couple coming in earlier into the afternoon. 1.5 feet of water reported over the road in Elm Grove near gas station, 7:45, the time of report. Another report coming in 8 o'clock, water over the road along Fairmont Avenue, and time report 8:30, and Bethlehem, flooding on 29th Street, adjacent creek out of banks with fast moving water covering the road. Also reports coming in at 8 o'clock, US 40 closed due to flooding in Woodsdale area, and also report coming in at a Bridgeport that roads closed around Bridgeport, some with 2 feet of water over the road. So those are some reports coming in so far this evening out of that area. And again, our own Hannah Hayes will be heading down that way, heading there now and gathering information to bring you the latest coming up at News 9 at 10 on Fox 9 and News 9 tonight at 11. So some reports coming in so far. We'll continue to gather information as we go throughout this evening on how the situation is currently into Ohio County and into portions of Belmont County as well. Jeffrey says the I-470 Ohio 7 split has water on the off-ramp. Thank you for the report there, Jeffrey, giving some reports to us this evening. Appreciate it. Thank you for giving those reports. The rain has finally tapered off, Shane says, at Atwood Lake Park. Thanks for the report there, Shane. And praying for everyone from Rayland, Ohio, Megan says. And yes, thoughts and prayers with everyone there. Hopefully everyone was able to stay safe, and hopefully it's not too horrendous of a situation, right? My thoughts and prayers are with everyone in that area again, in Ohio County, and for those in Belmont County as well affected by this flooding, and really hoping that everyone was able to stay safe. And we'll continue to keep an eye on the situation. Again, thankfully, I can happily report at this point that our impacts are starting to subside for the night, right? Thankfully, we don't have to worry about a severe threat or flooding threat continuing overnight. But unfortunately, we do have to keep vigilant again tomorrow. When we do see these showers and thunderstorms redevelop into the afternoon and evening, that potential is there for, again, localized flooding in addition to some strong to severe thunderstorms. So it's unfortunate, something we'll just have to keep vigilant again tomorrow. Have multiple ways to get that warning, right? Have multiple ways. The mobile phone's a great way. NOAA Weather Radio, also a great way. In addition to that, obviously you can tune into a local radio station. They're going to play the same alerts by the National Weather Service office. You obviously tune in to WTOB9, Fox 9. We'll have those warnings scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Also, social media. I've been posting reports continuously leading up to our edition of Nate at 8 here. But of course, Nate at 8 is another way to get the warning, right? When we do our live stream. So even social media can be a good tool to have, especially keeping up currently with situations. So have multiple ways to get the warning and stay up to date with the situation. Keep vigilant, right? Keep weather aware. And the Severe Weather Team 9 mobile app is another handy tool. It gives you a heads up when rain's heading your way, when lightning is detected near you, and will also give you that heads up when a warning is issued for your location as well. And, obviously now's the time, have a plan in place, right? Have a plan in place when it comes to a warning, severe thunderstorm warning. Have a plan in place of where you're going to be seeking shelter. Maybe say you're out on the lake, right? And have a plan in place. You got to be seeking shelter quickly, right? You want to get off the lake in the event of severe thunderstorm warning, and you want to seek shelter immediately, right? In the event of a severe thunderstorm warning. And, if you're out hiking or whatever the case may be, out for a walk in the neighborhood, have a plan in action to be able to take that action. Have a plan in place. And you don't want to get caught off guard with these thunderstorms. It's good to keep weather aware. Keep an eye on that radar and watch for any storms heading your way to be able to start to seek shelter in the event of a severe thunderstorm warning. And of course, with the flash flood warnings, want to have that plan in place if you live in a flood prone location to be able to seek higher ground, right? Get out of there and seek higher ground in the event of a flash flood warning. So just have a plan in place of where you're going to go in those events, right? And that way you're able to execute the plan that you already have in your head. It's much easier to do that than trying to come up with a plan in the exact moment that everything is going down, right? Have the plan in place so you're able to already know what to do in that event. So when it happens, you can fall back on that and you can execute the plan instead of trying to make a plan as it happens, right? It's a lot easier to make the plan beforehand so you just can execute that as well. Jeffrey saying if you live in Belmont County, you can sign up for the Belmont County Code Red. So there we go. Good tool as well there, Jeffrey. Thank you for mentioning that as well. If you live in Belmont County, signing up for the Belmont County Code Red. So another good and handy tool to have. Shane says, thank you for all you do, Nate, and prayers for everyone with all the flooding, and I hope all stay safe and cool. Yes, prayers with those affected with this flooding again this evening. And yes, hopefully everyone stayed safe. Hopefully everyone's able to stay cool with this hot, humid stretch of weather through the weekend as well. As it's just really, it's again letting up some, but just not a whole lot as we go through the weekend. It's really waiting more so into early next week, really into Wednesday, more so the middle of next week before we finally start to see more relief coming our way. So some lingering showers. We're still tracking some showers across the area, and we're dealing with these showers continuing, especially in Columbiana, Jefferson, portions there in the northern Panhandle, including Hancock, Brooke County, Ohio County. Seeing some showers continuing into Marshall County and still some thunderstorms there into Wetzel. It looks like really the potential for impacts is thankfully coming to an end. And if we're dealing with anything lingering, it's into Tyler and Wetzel County. Again, nothing imminent for those areas, but if we are still seeing a lingering impact, that's likely where it would be. So thankfully at this point, we're likely not dealing with any additional severe thunderstorms or additional flooding outside those areas that just continue to monitor. Again, the activity in general here is going to be tapering off as we do extend throughout. It's a little after about 9. A little after 9 right now, 9:12 to be exact. So, here as we extend over the next couple of hours, what we see in place will likely be tapering off, leading up closer to midnight. So, at this point, really, we're on the downward tread, thankfully, of dealing with these showers and thunderstorms in our area. And we'll start to see these gradually taper off now from the lingering showers that do remain in place. So certainly good news. It can deliver some thankfully good news in that regard. get some of the highest rainfall amounts that we've been dealing with. Some pockets where radar's estimated some high rainfall amounts over the last hour, even extending into portions of Wetzel County as well. But you'll see that darker red is those highest amounts. That's where we saw radar estimated even upwards of 3 inches of rain falling into a good portion there of Ohio County, and that extended into the northeastern portion of Belmont County as well. So those are the areas still of great concern, as flooding is still likely ongoing for those areas, although thankfully the rain is starting to gradually taper off for that area, starting to become much lighter. But there's flooding still likely ongoing for those locations, and still keeping a close eye on the situation there. And again, thankfully, as we progress throughout the night, that we're noticing this likely taper off rather quickly, and we can even jump into Futurecast. And if we fast forward this up closer to midnight, you notice that likely we're drying up as we get closer to midnight, and then likely we'll be staying dry as we do extend into Friday morning. But much like today and much like yesterday, we'll likely see those scattered showers of thunderstorms redevelop for Friday afternoon, continuing into Friday evening. Now, this time around Friday night, I think there can be a few showers and a thunderstorm to carry over into Saturday morning. And then we'll see that coverage pick back up again Saturday afternoon with more scattered showers and thunderstorms. By Sunday, then I think that coverage can fall off even more, where it's more of just an isolated shower and thunderstorm. And that I think rain chance can lower Sunday, but it'll pick back up Monday. And we'll deal with more scattered showers and thunderstorms arriving for the latter part of Monday, continuing Monday night into Tuesday morning, and then the rain chance will lower even more. Austin says, how much more rain are we going to see throughout the weekend? I'm praying that it will become very light and that the flooding stays at a minimum. I would hope so. I hope so. I certainly don't want to see any more flooding concerns, but unfortunately, that potential does look to be there. These heavy downpours will continue for likely tomorrow afternoon and evening, and again Saturday afternoon and evening. These real afternoon evening hours are the time of main concern for the days ahead for Friday, Saturday. Again, thankfully, the activity does look more isolated Sunday, and then we'll have to watch again Monday afternoon and evening, and even continuing into Monday night as we'll deal with more of those showers and thunderstorms. So we jump into that rain chance here, our precipitation threat over the next week. And you'll notice that again, Friday, Saturday, and Monday into those afternoon and evening hours, we're dealing with more scattered showers and thunderstorms. Now, Friday night and into early Saturday night, we can still have a few showers and thunderstorms continue. I think the risk will lower Sunday into Sunday night, but it'll pick back up then Monday afternoon, evening. And you'll notice those scattered showers and thunderstorms continuing Monday night into Tuesday morning. And then the rain chances fall off into Tuesday night. And then we finally get likely at least 2 days next week where there's no threat for rain at all next Wednesday and Thursday. That coincides when temperatures will finally start to drop a bit more. It's not a big cool down. It's really not. We'll fall, a handful of degrees from near 90 Monday to mid-lower 80s Tuesday, Wednesday. It's not a huge cool down, but we'll notice a bigger drop in that humidity. So up until that point, notice it's still feeling like it's in the 90s Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Still feeling like it's in the 90s, still a hot, humid stretch. By Tuesday, it's still, despite the drop in temperatures, it's still rather humid Tuesday, and it still likely feels a handful of degrees warmer. So it still likely feels like it's closer to 90 Tuesday. Now, by Wednesday is when we'll finally notice that further drop in humidity. It's not refreshing, but it's more tolerable. And we'll notice that likely carry over into Thursday. It can start to pick back up some into the 4th of July and in the 4th of July weekend, but at least we get a couple days there into Wednesday, Thursday likely, where we're dealing with that no threat for rain. We're dealing with quite a bit of sunshine, highs around the mid-lower 80s. And in addition to that, also dealing with more tolerable humidity levels, no threat for any rain, no threat for any impacts, and certainly nice to see that around next Wednesday and Thursday. I do worry that rain chances could pick up into the 4th of July. It's just so early yet to make a final call that far out into the forecast, but it does look like rain chances will start to pick up going into the 4th of July weekend. So I think we will unfortunately have to watch for some shower and thunderstorm potential into that time period. Hopefully can hold off for the 4th of July, but I think we will be watching for rain chances picking up at that point going into the 4th of July. So wanted to go ahead and dive into the remainder of the forecast. We're going to go back again, give where we currently stand with what we're dealing with across the area and the potential for impacts. The only potential I foresee, the only area to watch, right? There's nothing imminent, but the only area to watch would be towards Tyler, Wetzel County. But even what we're seeing there is starting to weaken quite a bit. And I think, even that the risk even there look low for any strong or severe thunderstorms or any flooding concerns for areas near Wetzel County. Outside of that, for any additional flooding, it's not anticipated, and neither is severe weather. Just some lingering showers further north of there, near I-70, north of I-70. Obviously, still have ongoing flooding into portions of Belmont, Marshall, and Ohio County. But thankfully, any additional flooding is not anticipated to occur into areas around really for a lot of us, right? I think really even into Wetzel County at this point, from how things have been trending over the past 20 minutes or so, I really think even the risks there look low. It's just the one area to watch, but I just don't think we're going to see anything come out of that area either of any of concern for any severe weather or flooding. But we're watching that. That's just the one area to continue to watch. We're dealing with some high rainfall amounts. I know into a portion of these locations. It is just something to continue to watch for these areas, especially near their 100, upwards about 2.5 inches. That might have been enough right there. I know there's no current warning, but that might have been enough to prompt one there south of 100, even though thankfully the rain's starting to move out of that area. But, still watching. That's the area to watch is in Wetzel County for any impacts at this point. So, thankfully that heavy rain starting to move out of the area, but radar still estimating a lot of rain that fell there south 100, and wouldn't be surprised, unfortunately, if there's some flooding that's currently ongoing south of 100 in Wetzel County at this hour. But thankfully, as you can see, that heavy rain's moving out of Wetzel County. So even there, the potential for impacts is starting to fall off. And then I don't foresee any more additional impacts, whether it be flooding or severe weather north of there into the remainder of the area, just some lingering showers. And again, we're still dealing with ongoing flooding into Ohio and into portions of Belmont as well as northern Marshall. And let's see a look at any more flood reports coming in. I see a look at the flood reports coming in into these areas, and we'll even zoom in. And we do have a new flood report coming in at a Martins Ferry time of report. And then we're 747 Martins Ferry report that the street road flooding, street road closed, and vehicles stranded. So report coming out of Martins Ferry, flood report coming out of Martins Ferry, a new report coming in. Out of Bridgeport, again, report coming in, roads closed around Bridgeport, some with 2 feet of water over the road. Also getting a report there into Ohio County, Bethlehem, road on 29th Street, adjacent creek out of Banks with fast-moving water covering the road. Also report out of Ohio County, Bethlehem, water over the road along Fairmont Avenue. Also report in Ohio County, 1.5 feet of water reported over the road in Elm Grove near gas station. Report Ohio County, US 40 closed due to flooding in Woodsdale area. So these are just some of the reports coming in so far. I'm sure there'll be more to come in. Again, we have our own Hannah Hayes that will be going down to Ohio County and reporting on a situation there into portions of Belmont, Ohio County, Marshall County on the current situation. And we'll bring you the latest with live updates coming up on News 9 at 10 on Fox 9 and News 9 tonight at 11. So we will continue to bring you the latest on how things are in this area coming up on the news at 10 o'clock and at 11 o'clock as well. News 9 at 10 on Fox 9 and 11 o'clock again is on WTOB 9 on NBC. So we'll bring you the latest coming up tonight on the situation in Ohio County and Belmont County, as it's just so tragic to see more flooding, unfortunately, for these locations. It's so tragic to see, but I will continue to keep you updated. Again, these flash flood warnings in effect for these locations. This will continue up to 10:30, 10:45. That's the time frame. 10:30 Ohio County, 10:45 into Belmont and northern Marshall County. This is the times for the flash flood warnings in effect. These remain in effect for these areas as flooding is likely ongoing. Again, thankfully, this rain's starting to gradually just taper off for these areas. So still just gradually tapering off, thankfully. And again, we're not anticipating any more additional impacts from what we've already seen when it comes to flooding or severe weather. They're subsiding now for the night, but we will have to watch again tomorrow afternoon and evening. That potential is there for more scattered showers and thunderstorms, and the more, unfortunately, strong and severe thunderstorms in addition to localized flooding. And I think that potential there can continue really on a daily basis as we go all the way through Monday of next week. I think by Tuesday, those impacts, the potential there will fall off throughout the day, but we can have some lingering showers. But really, I think this is something we unfortunately just have to monitor on a daily basis. Now, activity, I think, does become more isolated Sunday, which is good. And I think most of us can stay dry for the second half of the weekend. But, even then, it's just something to watch. From any isolated thunderstorm that does develop, it still could become severe, I think. So it's just something to monitor. You're dealing with a lot of fuel, right? And a lot of moisture for these thunderstorms to tap into, with these highs near 90, if not in the 90s, and very humid conditions. It's just something to continuously monitor on a daily basis. And of course, I will keep you updated, extending into these afternoon and evenings. I won't be in for the weekend, but I will keep you updated again for tomorrow afternoon and evening. And I urge you, please follow my Facebook page, Nathan Shutt News 9. I posted updates continuously leading up to this edition of Nate at 8 on what we're currently dealing with across the area. So, please follow me, Nathan Shutt News 9, on my Facebook. If you don't have Facebook, maybe you got X and Shutt WTOV. Continue to post updates not only throughout this evening, but again, I was able to even post updates of where we stood with the situation, even in Ohio County, as well as dealing with more severe thunderstorms across the area that we had this afternoon, and even flooding earlier in Tuscarawas County as well. So, I just urge you to please follow me there so you're able to get some updates, even when we're not doing, our edition of Nate at 8, to be able to get some of the latest information on where we stand with any flooding or severe weather concerns. So I appreciate it as always. Thank you for tuning into this edition of Nate at 8. Again, thankfully, at this point, I know there's still some flooding ongoing into Ohio, Belmont, to northern Marshall County. But, in terms of additional impacts, thankfully, those do not look to come to fruition now at this point of any additional flooding or severe weather across our area overnight. We just got to watch again tomorrow afternoon and evening. Thoughts and prayers to those affected with flooding for this evening. And, we're hoping and praying that everyone was able to stay safe. Again, we'll bring you the latest on where we stand with this coming up on News 9 at 10 on Fox 9, News 9 tonight at 11. And you can, as always, catch me for the latest on where we stand with those showers and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon to evening for that next edition of Nate at 8. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thoughts and prayers to those affected by the flooding tonight. I hope everyone was able to stay safe. I'll see you on the next edition of Nate at 8.